Now animation. This section we get to make this character come to life. We'll get to make him run, punch. We'll give him an idle motion. And we'll test all of these interactively using the game engine. Let's do a running action. I think a good thing would be is if I took the bones that you don't need to use to animate and just put them on their own bone layer. So I'll go ahead and move them down here. We use all of these other ones. Well, actually we don't use the hands. Let me save this. Scale these down to 50%. Make the fists. Let's bring the foot up. Let's bring the other foot up. Let's tilt them forward. A little bend in the back too here. Well, not really bend, but straightening it out somewhat. And I'm going to, I'm actually going to select everything and key everything's location and rotation. Then I'm going to bring up the timeline. And I'm going to click on the auto recording, the keyframing. And then let's switch over to the dope sheet in the action editor. I'm just going to call this run action. And let's Control C over here. And then let's jump ahead like, say, 10 frames. So we're on frame 11 now. And then over here, do a Control C V. And then let's jump ahead another 10 frames and just do a Control V. So Control Shift V, which is what I did here, pastes the flipped image. So this is where we start. This is halfway through the whole thing. This is a repeat of the first. So now what we need to do is figure out what goes in here, and let's see. Let's bring in his right leg up. So let's grab his right foot and bring that up. In fact, let's grab his pull targets, pull them forward. Let's bring this leg back. And let's move them up just a little bit. And if this leg's back, this arm's going to be forward. And this arm will be back. And maybe even we get a little tight, a little tilt of the shoulder. I'm just going to turn that just a little more down. Let's see. Jump. Come back down. And take these frames and move them over. One. Come back down. And so over this window, let's select all. Control C. And then this is on frame 7. Let's made it easy on ourselves by having these 10 apart. Control Shift V. And now let's just set the end of our animation to be one less than this frame and do an Alt A. That's pretty good. And for our little character, now let's make a punching action. First I'm going to make a fake user and then detach it. I'm going to go back to frame 1 and I'll create a new action. We'll call this punch action. I'm going to clear the rotation and the location of those bones, but not the scale. I'm going to create a keyframe for location and rotation. And I'm going to make sure I have one for scale because I want to make sure he keeps his fists. After that, I'm just going to use the auto keyframing. So let's position him for punching. We don't need this open right now. We can use 2 views. In fact, give ourselves a little more room. Let's see, so I'm going to be punching, I'm going to look at it from the side. So let's move this foot back. We don't want to rip his leg off though. Let's bring him back in a nice crouching pose. Like he's about to wax one. This is one case where I do like the widgets. I put them working on the local axis. That would hurt that there. this should not have all three colored axes. It should be like this. Let's see what's going on here. This is XYZ Euler, and this is quaternion. Love that word. Let's lock that. You know, one thing I should do is on our bones layer, we should really have the hand bones visible. So I'm going to select them, type M, move them back to the first layer, because we're probably going to want to twist those hands in this punching motion. Yeah, I'm leaning forward a little at the hips. And more at the waist. I'm going to go forward at the waist. And let's get this arm out here. And rotate it up. It's looking a little bit funny. His knees. In fact, this leg, I think, his foot could turn. And then his knee, of course, will turn. Like a pro. I'm going to turn the widgets on this window too. There we go. Okay, so that's pretty good for an initial pose. So let's select all the bones, Control-C, copy, Shift-up arrow, jump to frame 11, Control-V, just a normal Control-V, and then let's come down here and hit E. So we'll end on the same frame that we start on, as opposed to 1 minus that, like we did with running. Because running, we're going to be looping often, whereas a punch, you're usually just going to throw one punch and come back to where you started. Okay, now I just changed it on this one, so I got to go copy, come back here, paste it here. Now the frame in between, when he's doing his full-out punch, let me show you what I want to do here. I'll do a grease pencil. Hold D. I'm just going to drag this across. I want him to punch through like a dynamic line of action. So that's his target. So in order to do that, I think he's going to be coming forward. He's going to be up on his toe. Let's really come forward like that. I think his knee is going to pivot in. Otherwise, that would kind of hurt, wouldn't it? He's not going to punch with this arm, so I don't know why I'm messing with it. when he punches, his hips and his chest are going to twist like this. We want him looking where he's punching. So now he's looking from the front. He's leaving himself wide open to be hit. Let's twist his chest, which is nice. It's pivoting his shoulders too. Let's turn his hand a small amount. Oh, look at that. Bam, right on there. That's nice. See how his shoulder's doing here. I'm trying to see if I can untwist it a small amount. Of course, if I had done that first, then I wouldn't have to do anything with my hand. I think he would be leaning forward more from the waist, coming up there. Bring his neck down. That's not bad. Bam. Except that he looks like he's reaching out and just touching it. Oh, hey, he needs like a cartoony wind-up. So what I'm going to do is select all of these, copy, move ahead 2 frames, paste, so we're back at the starting point again, and then he's going to wind up. He'll lean back a little bit again, just for the sake of drama. I don't want this. His elbows. We don't have to be that dramatic, so I'll bring that in. This could come in closer. How's that on frame 1? Alright, not that I'm trying to be realistic, too realistic with the positioning. It's really just got to look like what you want. So let's see. I almost like him to move, change his center of gravity here, and move back a little, not just leaning back. Just take and then thrust forward, and then he comes back. Let's hit the / on your number pad. No, don't do that. Unless the mesh is selected, select the mesh, and then do that, and we can hide everything easily. Turn our widget off. Deselect, Alt-A. It's pretty good. Let me just try looking at it. Wind up. I think maybe let's go over to the dope sheet, the action editor. We can select this one. I'm just going to move that just for timing, just 1 over. So he's got a little bit more time in his punch. How's he look from the front? I'm always watching the side. Kind of opens himself up, which in real life you kind of do sometimes, even though you don't mean to. You know what? I'm going to raise his heel. Small amount there. And I have his hand start twisting. Cool. Let's save that.